Hello there, Starscream here for a quick look at a Transformer. Yes, I'm so regular with doing these reviews. I mean, it's like once a month or 5 weeks. You can set your watch by it. Calendar dates or anything like that. You can rely on me. Right, it dawned on me, through all of the ramblings and talking and reviews of Transformers and figures and generally talking about the subject matter, I've never actually ever physically talked about Generation 1 Optimus Prime. Oh yeah, Optimus Prime. Worst attempt at the voice ever. Well, I've heard worse, actually. Mostly by me. We won't go to that. Okay, we are purely going to focus on Generation 1 molds of Optimus Prime. There's a few. I'm not going to talk about the Ultra Magnus one. I've mentioned Ultra Magnus about 1,000,000 times, haven't I, think? Because he's such a cool character, and I always do Ultra Magnus reviews, but not this time. No more Magnus. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Yeah. But we'll do an Ultra Magnus review soon, okay? Yeah, alright, fine. I thought it was funny. Alright. Should we talk about the character of Optimus Prime, or where he come about, shall we? Just first? Yeah, shall we? Shall we, before we talk about the toy? Yes? No? Yes? No? Can't hear you. Ugh. Right. Where did Optimus Prime come from? Well, you may or may not be aware that in the cartoon continuity, don't get confused with the comic, that he used to be Orion Pax. Now, this is the only Orion Pax figure I've got. Yes, it's a repaint of Cup, and it's terrible. And they didn't even redo the head moulding. I mean, this is sort of like, I'm including this in the review. Cup was a terrible toy anyway, and then they recoloured him into Orion Pax. They could have done something with the head moulding. Granted, if you watch the cartoon, it does bear a passing resemblance to Cup, I'll give it that, and does to the transformation, but he looks like Mickey Mouse Cup, doesn't he? Or Clown Cup. Clown Cup. Don't know where I'm going with that one. So, okay. Orion Pax, he just used to be a dock worker. Yeah, it's not particularly impressive, is it? Actually, it wasn't even voiced by Peter Cullen. It was voiced by some other actor, if I recall. Forget it. No, it's not Peter Cullen who voiced Orion Pax. But never mind. So, Orion Pax is an idiot. And he works on the docks, and the Decepticons apparently these new super combat warrior robots, and he's dead impressed by them. And this involved the aerial bots. Well, they're aerial bots, and they patrol an area, so they're area bots. You can have that one for free. So yes, I'm going to finish this story for Pete's sake. Even Orion Pax's sake. So yes, he's impressed by them. His friends tell him that they're not great, but he goes and sees them. I've done this before. If you go back, there's Optimus Prime telling a story of it. If you really want to go back, why put on a terrible voice? Search it out. It's on my channel. I enjoyed doing it. I thought it was quite funny. I didn't think it was that bad. People probably didn't see the funny side of it. Never mind. I did. So he gets shot by Megatron, okay? And that's it. So he gets shot by Megatron, he's essentially dead. Now the aerial bots, who aren't the area bots, they're something else, they deal with other things. The aerial bots take them to Alpha Trion here. Who Alpha Trion, when he's young, doesn't have a beard. So when apparently robots get older, they grow beards. Go figure. Now I know what you're thinking. Yes, it's a crappy retool of, what was it, Omega Prime or Sentinel. I can't even remember who it's a recolour of now. You lot can tell me and post at the bottom who this is a retooling, a re-head moulded version of. But for the basis of that isn't really an Alpha Trion toy, we'll use this. So Alpha Trion here gets hold of him and he says, oh, I sense great power in him. A bit like Star Wars actually. Everybody rips off Star Wars. And he emerges as Optimus Prime. That's Short Stacks Prime, won't use him. He emerges as, this is Generation 2 Prime by the way, but for the purposes of what I'm doing, he will suit it well. And he emerges as Generation 1 Optimus Prime, and he goes around beating the crap out of the Decepticons like that. He says, I'm Optimus Prime, I'm Optimus Prime, and he does that, and he wins. And that's the end of the story. Alright, so that's where we come, and now what I've just explained to you is actually true for the cartoon continuity run. That is 100% right. Now, as regards the comic book run, I can't actually remember where Optimus Prime came from. I think he's a descendant of Primus, like all Transformers are, and the Matrix was handed down to him as a young warrior, and he took the leadership, and then he progressed on, and he becomes a great warrior known as Optimus Prime, and he dies like 500 times, and always comes back with a more powerful body. Okay. That is essentially where Optimus Prime come from, and Optimus Prime is essentially one of the greatest, if not the greatest, Autobots. Now, look at it this way. He is a great leader. He is essentially the only one who holds the Autobots together. Without him, they are utterly useless. There's an episode where he's really badly injured in the G1 and he's lying on his back like that, and the Autobots are got to get him some, was it Cosmotron? Or something that they've got to get for him that's only on Cybertron. And they dither around, and then it actually involves around, I think it's Chip Chase who manages to inspire them to move on. Or Spike or Chip Chase, can't remember. It was one of them that inspires the Autobots to try and fight. Anyway, they get their arse kicked by the Decepticons until Optimus Prime emerges. They get the bit back to him, and then he does this "I'm Optimus Prime" bit, and then he wins, and they all go away. That's it. That's all Optimus Prime ever does. Now, the other thing about Optimus Prime you got to know is he is a much more ruthless leader than Megatron. Now, you look at it this way. Megatron puts up with Starscream. You know, he is completely and utterly unreliable, Starscream, and he's a backstabber, but Megatron tolerates him. Could you imagine if Optimus Prime had anybody in his ranks that he didn't trust or he couldn't rely on? They'd be out like that. Well, I can't click my left hand. Like that with my right hand. They'd be gone. There's a few episodes where he's getting really pissed off with them because they're not doing what he's telling. He's actually giving them orders and they're actually disobeying him. And he really gives them a stern telling off. Now, if he'd been Megatron would just go, oh, don't do that again and let's carry on. Not Optimus Prime. Optimus Prime will kill you, alright? So you don't piss with Prime. That could be a good motto. I'd like that on the back of my car. Never mind. So yes, Optimus Prime is a much better leader. There's even one part on the, I think it's Arrival from Cybertron, where he's insulting Megatron. He's going, "You're junk. You're yesterday's technology. You're rubbish," and stuff like that. And it's brilliant. And Megatron's just going, I haven't really got anything to say to that. So, yes, Optimus Prime is kick-ass. I've always liked Prime. He's a bit like John Wayne. He's one, you know, heroes you don't usually like, do you? Because they're slightly annoying and smug and slightly condescending, and you think, it's nice being, oh, it's just because you're the big hero guy and we don't really like you, we like the underdog. No, not with Prime. Everybody likes Optimus Prime. That's it, alright? Or if you don't, he will come and he will kill you. That's the power of Prime. So, Optimus Prime is cool. I really like Prime. Now, let's take a look at the toys.
Yes, it is a long story. It's too bleeding long. Good God.